Oh, I didn't realize that's your,
Their little thumbprint.
yeah, very cool.
Did your wife do that?
It is 5:30, so we will start with a roll call.
Right. Mr. Munoz,
Present.
Dr. Bonebrake,
Here.
Mrs. Schmidt,
Present.
Dr. Schumacher,
Here.
Mr. Tatum,
Present.
Dr. Beeson. And I understand Mrs. Bowley is not, but she may be joining us
Maybe, yeah.
on Zoom. So I'm just going to mark her absent and then say when
Yep.
she arrived.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So we will move to executive session. So I need a motion for that.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education of USD 501 recess into executive session for 30 minutes to discuss confidential personnel matters to protect the privacy of the individuals being discussed pursuant to the personnel exception in the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The board will return to open session in the boardroom at 6:02 p.m. The superintendent and leadership team are invited into executive session.
Is there a second for that motion? Yeah, Dr. Bonebrake. Any discussion? If not, we'll move to a vote.
All votes are in and the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay. It is 6:02. Mrs. Schmidt said my hair is down, so now I'm I didn't use product tonight. This is my natural look. So we will move on into the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, and let's see, we don't have any students in the audience, but we do have Pastor Sublette with
Yes.
Sent. So if we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, my goodness, and I'm gonna stand over here and give it to Dr. Gardner to help Pastor Sublette start us on off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sir, gentlemen, I appreciate you.
Thank you. Okay. So we have a little bit of business next with our board officer nominations. So we will start with nominations for the president of the board. Yeah, Dr. Bonebrake.
I would nominate Lisa Schmidt.
Is there a second? Yeah, Mr. Tatum. And then we will move for, no, you just go, we vote on the first nomination. Okay, Mrs. Schmidt's got it.
So. Are there any other nominations?
Okay, are there any other nominations for the board?
Now is Ms. Foley joining virtually? Okay.
Okay. I don't hear any other nominations.
Oh, you muted her?
That's okay. So we can move for a vote on the nomination that's on the board for Mrs. Schmidt.
Mrs. Bowley, please vote by voice.
No.
Okay, we have 4 yeas and 3 nos.
Okay, so that carries. Congratulations, Mrs. Schmidt. So you get to do the next part.
So I am looking for nominations for vice president of the board. Mr. Tatum,
I nominate Dr. Ashley Beeson for Vice President.
do we have a second? Dr. Bonebrake seconds. We ready for a vote? Are there any other nominations? Sorry, I just did what I told you not to do. Are there any other nominations for vice president? All right, seeing none, we're ready for a vote.
And the vote is open. Mrs. Bowley,
Yes.
and you vote yes. Thank you. And that motion carries unanimously.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 5, adoption of the agenda. I'm looking for a motion.
I move the board adopt the agenda as presented.
In a second? Mr. Munoz? Any discussion? All right, we're ready for a vote. Mr. Munoz?
Mrs. Bowley, have you left the meeting or are you still here?
I vote yes.
Thank you. Unanimously.
Next item on the agenda, item 6, school highlights. Dr.
Oh.
Anderson?
All right, this is one of our favorite parts. Please enjoy the video as we prepare to start the school board recognition video. It is School Board Recognition Month. You have shirts or some level of clothing at your table. You have gifts, and I believe you have other items that are gifts. Dr. Gray, what else do they have at their table? Are you going to come on up? We want to highlight Dr. Gray here, who's helped put all this together along with Mrs. Lister.
Yes, ma'am. Again, congratulations on School Board Appreciation Month. You have in front of you a nice plaque, or it's a plaque that says, what does that say, Dr. Beeson?
We prepared this.
Thanks for helping us shine. Sheldon Head Start 2025,
Exactly.
2026. And it looks like little fingerprints.
Yes, ma'am. And then you have a nice bag in front of you and it has some school gear in it. So again, thank you so much for all you do for our kids and our staff. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Hello there, Board of Education from Scott Dual Language Magnet. We are so grateful for everything you do for our students and families, and just want to say,
thank you from the Jardine admin team to our Board of Education for all that you do for us.
thank you for funding our books. Thank you for supporting our AVID program.
Thank you for allowing field trips.
Thank you for giving us the best teachers. Thank you for keeping our schools open.
The ambassadors of Hope Street Academy High School would like to extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation
For all of your support and guidance.
you continue to offer our staff and students.
Thank you for all you do.
You are fantastic!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We are grateful for the time, the leadership, and the commitment that you give to help our students learn and thrive.
Please know that we are so thankful for you. You truly make 501 better.
On behalf of Whitson, students, staff, and families, we truly appreciate all that you do for our school community.
Thank you, TBS 501. We appreciate you.
Hi, Mom. Thank you, school board. Thank you, school board.
Thank you, Board of Education.
We thank you for your commitment and dedication. Mr. Williams put the video together. He did a fantastic job. And happy School Board Appreciation Month. Continuing on with our highlights, we have Pastor Sublette here, who we want to acknowledge, and then we're going to turn it over to him to talk a little bit about the special work he's doing in partnership with the Topeka Public Schools, which in part is why also Ross Elementary is here. Pastor Sublette and the SENT team, can you please come forward? Both Pastor Sublette, the recognition states, we thank you and want to recognize you for your ongoing partnership with Topeka Public Schools as part of Fellowship and Highcrest, and also the Fellowship Highcrest Church for your ongoing partnership and for your dedication to helping students, staff, and families grow and thrive. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to turn this over to the SENT team. They're going to share what they're doing in Highcrest, talk a little bit about SENT and what that acronym stands for, and I will turn it over to them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anderson. Thank you, board, for letting us be here tonight. My name is Jill Rice. I am the operations director for SENT, and I also wear the hat as executive pastor for Fellowship Highcrest. I already introduced Jonathan, our executive director and servant pastor. And then this is Burrell Watson. He is our campus connections program director for SENT, and he is also our worship pastor for Fellowship Highcrest. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about what SENT is, how we've been engaging with Topeka Public Schools over the last several years. And thank you for that opportunity. SENT stands for Strengthening and Equipping Neighborhoods Together. We're a community development nonprofit located in Southeast Topeka. We're actually located in the Avondale East School Building, where we are located there with CRC. Over the last several years, we have done a lot of engagement, primarily with Ross, Eisenhower, Highland Park High School, Avondale Academy, and Highland Park Central. Throughout the years, we've done a teacher resource fair where we've been able to gather supplies and hand those out to hundreds of school teachers, impacting thousands of students. We do that in January because we want to boost their classroom kind of midway through the year. We just wrapped that up last weekend. And we also bring Scent's holistic model into the schools. We're able to bring wraparound supports really to focus on our relationship with staff. We want to be able to walk alongside them, make sure that they're getting connected to some case management if they need it, to mental health support, and all of those supports that we provide at Scent. We want to be able to bring that into the building to them, make access easy for them. And then we've done many events in the community that we get to partner alongside the schools, and are grateful for their partnership with us, and really just love getting to do that. So I'm going to let Braille talk a little bit more about what we're specifically doing on campuses right now in the season.
Yes. So I get to spend one full day a week with all of our beautiful, great smelling middle schoolers. And it is an awesome time. But Campus Connections is an amazing program. We contract licensed behavioral health specialists and other certified specialists in several different areas such as mental health and drug and alcohol prevention, and we send them out into the schools. And it's not just about programs, because as I always say, you don't want someone to show up and ask you how they can help you, and then you have to spend time creating a plan. So we integrate into the school, such as Greg Lombard Ray, who's a TBRI specialist. He spends time in the classroom. He's done PLC for all of the teachers at Eisenhower, and then he also does in-classroom coaching for the teachers and for the students at their request. Right now, he has a waiting list for the classrooms that he can get into. I've helped as far as with the signature music program. I've gone as far from helping to redesign the scope and sequence for the signature music program from Ross Elementary all the way through Highland Park High School, and even being the accompanist for the school when we needed a pianist, and being an accompanist for Eisenhower Middle School. And then also I'm a recording artist and a musician. And so I spend my time in the music program, but also I bring work in process, which is a therapy infused concert experience where students are able to interact with all of the things we learned from the other Campus Connections team members, but through music that's culturally relevant for them. And it often helps them open up. And so we've used that time to even do surveys around substance use and prevention. And then we take that data and we give it to the admin so that they can create prevention measures and work with other partners such as PARS to help put things into place. I'm not going to go into all the stats, but in the overview that you received, it actually has stats from that program and others of the impact that they've had, and pre and post data surveys from different programs that we've offered that have assisted students in their mental health and their well-being. We also heard from the school that they needed after-school programs. Like, we really need something to help students plug into. So we offer after-school programming as well. Every Thursday, we have Creative Expressions, which is an unofficial art therapy group where students are able to engage in activities around art to help them gain coping mechanisms, identify emotions, and then also engage in civic engagement. Every third Thursday of the month, we offer the Bridge Builders Investment Club, which is a financial learning environment where students learn about financial health and investing through immersive experiences. So we try to capture all of those things together. So in that document, you'll see more of that and what that looks like and how those things work. But we really look to partnering with the schools, launching programs that we know will be impactful by listening to our administrators there, and then engage in the community. So I want to invite Jonathan up to talk a little more about what that looks like moving forward.
Thanks, Braille. So just to explain what you have on the front is kind of an overview of some of our involvement in the schools. And then that was attached to the front. In the front pocket of that red folder are all of the Scent programs and information about that in a more detailed manner. And the Braz is our standard stock Scent presentation. The notes version, so they have about 80% of what we would say in a presentation. And then the back folder contains the Fellowship Highcrest programs in which we wrap around our neighborhood. I am a proud member of the Ross PTO. I am thoroughly involved. Braille is a part of the Eisenhower PTO. We are heavily invested in our schools. This year, Scent will invest about $500,000 in the Highland Park feeder system in investment. we have secured a gift that will expand that. And so our 1 day a week after school program, we are spending both this spring and the summer planning to expand that to 4 days a week coming in the fall. And we have raised those funds to be able to do that. And so we're adding to the staff and looking for more volunteers to do that. Also, recently you might be aware of something that we've launched. We have launched a teacher retention fund because as we have interacted with our admin partners at our feeder schools, one of the key things is teacher retention. There was actually a white paper done on a study out in California where they did the same type of thing. And what we're offering, we have set aside $60,000 that will provide $5,000 in down payment assistance to 12 teachers at Highland Park Central, Ross Elementary, Eisenhower Middle School, Highland Park High School, and Avondale Academy, because that is where our focus has been, along with sending teachers to training and different things of that nature. Our request is that those teachers will spend 5 years at those schools, and if they move before that, they were paid back in a graduated wage, just like any other payback system. One of the things that drove me to create that was not only interacting with our admin partners at our local schools, but also seeing the write-up of the story of Dr. Anderson and what she was personally putting scratch in the game to find housing for teachers. And consistently when I go into rooms, I say, people in our community celebrated something that we should have cried about. Our superintendent, generous as she is, should never be asked to make that kind of investment out of her personal pocket to make sure that our students have teachers that have safe and stable housing, because none of us function well when we don't have stable housing. One of the things I would like to ask tonight is if the school board would consider going to the Topeka Public Schools Foundation and matching that gift so that we can expand the number of teachers who are able to get that. Right now, we're working on housing and we're working on replicating and speeding up the pace at which we develop housing. With that $5,000 of assistance for a cent house, a teacher could most likely, for $1,000 or less, be able to move into a new home for their family in the neighborhood in which they teach. I think that is a tremendous draw for teachers within our system and could really help. The other thing is as we increase our staff, right now, we are getting more funding, we're expanding more programs, but we're running out of space in the Avondale building. There's a room that gets only about 5% usage since I've been in Topeka for 8 years. Originally, it was a shoot, don't shoot simulator. Then Washburn University built theirs and it no longer was used for that. Then it was used after that to store cameras for a security system upgrade for about a year. And then now is used for interviews sometimes for Topeka Public Schools Police Department. If we could get that room at no charge, we would have space to expand our school building. Right now, CENT is able to offer mental health therapy for every 1.8 people who inquire for behavioral health, mental health, or substance use. One person is able to get scheduled with a therapist within a week. We need continual space to put staff to do more things. We're one of the only 2 organizations in the entire state that can sign up people for SNAP services through text message alone. Today, people were able to come, get signed up for SNAP, get help on their LEAP application, shop the pantry, get case management, see a therapist, go to our medical clinic in the building, all in one trip. And we provide transportation to and from home for anybody living in the 10-mile radius. We have trauma-informed occupational therapy, chiropractic services, massage therapy services, the food pantry, mailboxes for those who are unsheltered or in a domestic situation that don't have that. All those services happen out of one place, including our free community party room, which we started and we raised funds because of the Young Lives program at Highland Park High School. The young ladies didn't have a place to throw baby showers for their kids. So we have a cotton candy machine, popcorn machine, snow cone machine, a team of volunteers that run all the equipment, all the AV equipment, and they just show up with a cake and we host a whole party for them. Those are the things that we are in threat of losing from our community if we can't get more space, because we're going to have to find somewhere else to go. And so that's why we're making that ask tonight. Thank y'all guys for your time.
And I know they may have questions for you. I do want to acknowledge, and I mentioned Ross and Eisenhower because Dr. Gardner is generally the tallest person in the room. But HPC is here, as well as Avondale West is here. Did I miss any other school leaders? So as we have our team here, we're going to open this up for questions for our board.
All right.
I'm floored. When you came and saw me at State of the Community and you're like, Lisa, Cent and Fellowship Highcrest are investing in Topeka Public Schools, and you laid out a few details, I had no idea. So I know that there are board members here that are just astonished and excited as I am and have some questions for you. So who wants to go first? Mr. Tatum?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, all three of you, for being here. And I think, first of all, we're grateful for the powerful work that you guys are engaging in on behalf of our students and the greater, broader Topeka community, especially the love that you guys are showing to East Topeka, to the schools and the neighborhoods that are over on the east side of town. That I know we've had discussions among the board that doesn't always get the same kind of love that the west side gets. So thank you guys for putting in the work. I had no idea, and I'm certainly aware of the services and the ministry that goes on, that you guys provide in our Avondale West building, or Avondale East building. But I had no idea of the depth of the programs that you guys are engaged in. So this is incredible. I'm very grateful that you guys came to share this with us this evening. Looking forward to seeing how we can help continue to support this process.
Thank you. And I don't know if you knew that we are actually naming 2 housing developments after Topeka Public Schools namesakes. Our new 176 unit apartment complex that will break ground probably in April, May, will be named after Miss Pamela Johnson Betts. 101 of those units, you could have 0 income. We have built a community now where people will be able to go from being unsheltered to being homeowners and never have to move their kids in schools. That's been our whole goal. Across the street from that will be a 43-home, single-family subdivision named New Heights after Dr. Burrow New.
All right. My aunt. So yeah, I'm all on board with that. Where are these developments going to be located?
They're going to be located on Fremont Street. If you're coming from 29th and you turn up that hill, Cent owns all 29 acres on both sides of the street. And we are already starting to move into the Highland Park Central neighborhood. We have some infill houses, and we have kind of master plan the next major subdivision actually in that neighborhood, and starting to wrap around supports to move into that neighborhood also.
All right, fantastic. Keep up the fantastic work.
Dr. Beason?
I have a couple of questions, but first I want to say all of what you have presented is such a foundation for humanity and the health of humanity. And I imagine this being just like a gold standard sort of model for how a community can come together and provide for its people. And it's really, really incredible. I would like to, one, know more about where this sort of dream came from and how it started. And 2, I'm curious about for our teacher retention and the housing program, I guess how those teachers will be selected, if there's an application process they should be looking for, things like that.
I'm the only one of my mom's kids that graduated high school. I went and got a chemical engineering degree. My 6th grade teacher told me that I was going to go to college, and I believed them while we were at a SMU basketball game. Some engineers came to my 7th grade science class in the school across town because they had to bus me across town. And that day I decided I was going to be an engineer. And throughout my life, it's been my school teachers and people associated with the church. The reason Braille is on campus every week is because when I was in elementary school, I had to go through metal detectors every day. My 6th grade teacher, who's my basketball coach, got the pastor from his church to come and sub because it was hard to find subs. And he started getting more people from his church involved. So one of my goals is to have a staff member that we pay on campus as a free resource for every campus is TPS. We're just starting where we're starting at. And I am modeling what helped me out. That's my drive. The reason I want these houses to be built and for families to have access is because both of my parents died within a year of each other, and neither one ever owned a house. I moved 6 times in elementary school, and I went to 2 different middle schools. I never got the stability that I'm hoping to see other families get. That's my drive. The teachers are able to go through the same buyer pool process as everyone else. Once they complete that process, they get in line for that help. And as we have funds available, we'll give it to those who come next in line, who complete all the requirements as houses are available. We want, if the fund is matched, I said those who match it can dictate what other schools the teachers can come from to go to those schools. We're starting with those schools that we're starting with because that's where we're invested. We always want to put scratch in the game. I took some of that money from my dad dying and transformed 2 houses in my community. We started the Bridge Builders program, which every kid gets a scholarship to either college, tech school, or their own investment account when they graduate. They're investing hands-on money right now. Some of them have working businesses right now because of that. And we help fund a produce truck. We have a workforce development program now. And so those are the things that drive the life experience that I lived. I grew up in a neighborhood just like Highcrest. And so I wanted someone to believe in my neighborhood and me. And so I'm trying to pour that same belief into where I'm placed right now.
Thank you for the vulnerability of sharing that and dedicating your life to making sure that somebody else doesn't have that experience.
Thank you.
Mr. Munoz?
I'd be interested in hearing from the perspective of our schools, which is what we're here. I wonder if we could have some individuals sort of share. I know we have some teachers and some individuals working our.
We have Abernathy and Dr. Gardner and Dr. Grimes are all here.
And I'll share this first. Mr. Sublett also has 3 of his kids in 501 at Ross Elementary. And so I think that speaks to his investment in our community. My first interaction with Sinton Fellowship really started from Dr. Anderson when I first became the principal at Ross. She charged me to go out to the community, meet as many people as I can. And I remember Mr. Sublett messaged me on Facebook and said, hey, what can we do to help? And so come that summer, they had a summer extravaganza, big fireworks show. And 4 years ago, this things he was talking about has come to life. He even got me into a dunk tank to raise money, which knowing my personality in dunk tank is not something I would normally do, but it really showed me just the power of walking alongside our students and our staff, and the kids at Eisenhower now who were at Ross still talk about dunking me in that dunk tank. So we appreciate that. And Mr. Watson and Ms. Rice, thank you for everything. I was telling Mr. Watson today, the Campus Connection students were asking me at Eisenhower, where's the bus? Are they coming today? I'm like, no, taking the week off. So, but just provides that after school from especially at night till 7 or 8 o'clock at night where many of our students don't have a place to go. So thank you.
Hello, board. I want to thank Cent, all the partnership they've had to help both teachers and students at Highland Park Central. They have been pivotal in various things. We've been able to refer families to them when they've come asking us for help. We've been able to pull out Mr. Sublett's card he gave me a while back, and I said, I have a number to give you. And supporting our teachers. We have 3 Highland Park Central teachers back here supporting our partnership. They're also members of fellowship, correct? Yes. So we look forward to continuing this partnership and supporting our families with the housing, and the stability he talks of will also help our HBC students.
I'm going to caveat onto that. This tremendous group of people. They start with family resources. That's how I kind of got involved with them. Then they came in and they taught some social emotional learning, and we're continuing that. That's reaching some kids that we didn't reach before. And now a new program, working with Braille, we're going to actually start looking at some of our seniors and what happens next to them. We have a lot that kind of self-sabotage this last semester and they never finish. But with Braille's help and a new program we're starting there, we're going to address some of those fears that they have and make them college ready and career ready. And so I'm excited to get that started. This group just doesn't stand still. There's just always something new coming out and they just keep reaching the holes that we have. So great partnership. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you all for sharing. Appreciate it. And thank you to the teachers who are here as well.
Any other questions? Well, I just want to thank you guys. I would love it if you could get up very briefly. I know you've put some asks for 501, but for other people watching, what are some ways that they can help support SENT and the things that you guys are doing?
Okay. Other people are watching. One, always being involved as a volunteer. So whether it's with our pantry, right now our pantry feeds, when it's at max capacity, 600 families a month from 38 different zip codes. And so always there's a part of that. As we look to expand our after school programming, we're going to need some help with that. We quickly went from like 12 students to 40 students. And when we started providing transportation from the school. And so that is a different task. And classroom management is this hard deal. And so we need some help with that. With some people who have those skills to come be a part of it because we feel like this is important. Also, just becoming a monthly donor for SENT and supporting that way, that increasingly helps. And so there's different ways to give back and also just referring people that need the services to walk beside. I want to let you know, my family shops from the pantry. When I get sick, the first place I go is to our clinic. I got adjusted at the chiropractor this week. My kids see the trauma-informed occupational therapist. And I think Jill's, all three of our kids see the trauma-informed occupational therapist in our building. And so we want people to know that the services offered at our Family Resource Center are not for those people, but it's for all people. That trauma-informed occupational therapist, the reason we got her in our building is because before that, all the foster adoptive families who needed that had to drive to Kansas City every week. My family was driving my wife had to take a full day off of work every week to go to that case. And we saw there was a lot of foster adoptive families who needed that service. And it was not in Douglas County nor Shawnee County. And so we brought that resource to our community and then instantly it filled up. And now they have 2 to 3 therapists here every week doing that service. So it's for all families. And so just helping people connect with it.
Outstanding. Well, like I said, I am floored. I knew a little bit of what you guys were doing, but you are just going above and beyond for our students in our district. And from the bottom of the heart, I thank you very much. I thank you for coming tonight and, educating us all as to where we are, where you hope to be, and then how we can help you along the way. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I would like to take a picture with the board, so if we can take 2 minutes for that. Sit families, come on up. Teachers and administrators that are here, like to come on up for the photo, or please come on up as well. Yeah, I'm gonna sit. Come around you all.
Thank you.
Three, 1, 2, 3.
All right, as we move on, next item we have on the agenda is item 7, public communications.
None.
All right, next item then is item 8, business by consent. I'm looking for a motion.
I move the board approve the items of business by consent as presented and authorize the board president or superintendent to sign the special project and purchasing contracts for and on behalf of the board.
Thank you. Looking for a second? Mr. Munoz, thank you for your second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I think we're ready for a vote.
And all votes are in and the motion carries unanimously. Mrs. Bowley left the meeting.
Okay. Next item up on the agenda is item 20, superintendent's report.
Thank you. We have the CAP scores from last year, and Dr. Kipp is here to present those over these next 10 minutes. At 6:45, we're going to move right on into your training. So in the interest of time, rather than me giving an update, the update is Dr. Kipp, I believe. Dr. Kipp. As we bring the PowerPoint up, remember that we used to get CAP scores immediately. Well, this past year, instead, that October, November or so window is when those arrived. And so you really didn't have that in your end of year binder for reflection of the year. Dr. Kipp will also talk about the MAP growth, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Okay, good evening. As
Good
we
evening.
pull that up. Right. Okay. Let's see, make sure this works.
As they're preparing to turn that slide for Dr. Kipp, I will actually also mention that we are having our data consults at this time. Often it's helpful for board members to go in depth in at least one school and to get a chance to see what that looks like. We now have those slimmed down to 30 minutes, 32 schools in the course of about a week or two. We have a monthly conversation, some schools monthly, others are every other month, about their data, their spending, CAP, MAP, their growth, discipline. So with all of that in mind, we encourage you to take a look at that, and we'll remind you when those dates are and send you that calendar again. Dr. Kipp?
Right, thank you. Okay, I think it's important to recognize that the CAP in 2024 was a different test than 2025. So we're kind of comparing a little different, they had new cut scores, brand new test items, everything. And so I wanted to illustrate what kind of impact that had on scores. These clusters that you see here in mathematics, the change from 2024 to 2025, it boosted our scores about 3%. You'll see kind of a similar pattern at the state level. We're talking 3 to 4% increase with the new test. So it's just as rigorous, but, slightly more targeted towards grade level standards. You'll see a wider variance when it comes to science. The new science assessment did boost those scores up at the state level and at our level. Okay, so I just wanted to point out that important distinction. And as we look at last year's CAP, I'm not going to read through all of these, but basically there's some pretty good indications and trends. I wanted to highlight in yellow, these are the areas that outperform the state in terms of being on grade level or above. And I want to point your attention to Quincy. This is a very high poverty, high special needs school, and their third grade, the state average is in low 70s. They came in at 81% and almost 80% in their fourth grade, mathematics. That is unheard of. I've never seen that in 15 years, and kudos to them. There's also some other highlights at your, McCarter, McClure. We overall did pretty good in fifth grade as a district in mathematics. And as we move on to middle school, you'll kind of see some similar highlights at French, outperforming the state, Landon, and this is French outperformed the state in 2 grade levels, their 6th and 8th grade mathematics. And as we move on to ELA, again, there's Quincy, 3rd grade. That 3rd grade teacher is phenomenal, moving these kids to proficiency in both mathematics and ELA. And also Whitson's 4th grade being outperforming the state as well. Okay, and ELA in terms of secondary schools, I did want to highlight Hope Street. I don't think they've ever outperformed the state in my tenure, and this was the first year that they actually hit that 77% proficiency mark at the 10th grade level, which is one of the more difficult state assessments. Okay. Now, I wanted to talk about CAP, but I also want to mention MAP. It's our other data point. It's nationally normed. It's something that we can use to compare our 4th graders to the nation. And so it's not we give it 3 times a year. So we look at growth between fall, winter, and spring. And it measures both growth and achievement. CAP, purely achievement test. It's just a summative test of all you know. It doesn't measure growth. So that's kind of why we like to use this model in TPS, because as you'll find, we are growing. Are we at the achievement levels we want to be? Not quite yet. But this kind of orb that I wanted to show, this is mathematics on the left a year ago. Every dot is one of our schools. Okay, this is a quadrant report. The lower quadrant is low growth, low achievement. The upper right is high growth, high achievement. And I kind of like to use an example. Let's say you have a child who was born at the 5th percentile in terms of weight. Now, 6 months later, you go to the doctor, it's moved up to the 15th percentile. That's pretty good growth for a child. But is it achieving where other babies should be? So they're almost mutually exclusive, but I think it's important to show our growth as a district in mathematics. That orb a year ago was kind of hovering around that low achievement, low growth on MAP. This winter, these most recent winter scores, that you've seen that orb move up. And we're getting closer and closer. I think one more year, we're going to be in that trajectory of high growth, high achievement. As we look at language arts, you also see some movement, not quite as much as we would like to see. And I know it's impossible to see these dots and what building that is. So I'm going to actually highlight a couple of schools just to show you.
And I would encourage, I know one board member went and just had a one-on-one with Dr. Kipp. Because this is one of those things I can't put in a binder for you. You really need an interactive presentation to be able to see these kinds of graphs and to see particular schools and trends. So I would encourage the board members over the course of this month, next month, to schedule time with Dr. Kipp and also Mr. Isner in finance. But for this report, Dr. Kipp, so you're able to dive a little bit deeper.
Yep, so we're going from the macro level down to the micro level. This is kind of diving into those orbs that have moved. This is Quincy's mathematics. The very bottom one is how they were performing in 2023, kind of low growth, low achievement. 2024, they're getting closer to that magical line. That blue line is the national average, really. Now, what's amazing, this past year, that growth has skyrocketed almost into that high growth, high achievement quadrant. And this is Quincy. Amazing, given the contours of poverty that they face there, that growth is occurring. Now, are they exactly where we need them to be in terms of achievement? No, they got some growth in that regard as well. Yes, sir.
Is that elevation because the CAP level was changed?
No, actually, this is MAP. This is a different assessment in terms of, I wanted to show growth versus achievement, and CAP is a purely achievement test. So we wanted to look at another data point with MAP, kind of showing the growth. There's been no adjustments to MAP, and at the national level.
So we're comparing apples to apples.
Correct. Yep.
Another nationally normed test, which is why we brought this as well, because we knew you'd ask that question, Dr. Von Brake.
Yep.
Although they have shown continued increases on the CAP, this gives you the same test over time for Quincy. Now remember, Quincy is also where we piloted this past year, the special education pilot, where we opened up a classroom that is tailoring some services to a group of students to address behaviors. It was wildly successful under the leadership of Ms. Sharp and of course, Ms. Crow, the principal. So we're excited about piloting some things that are a little different at Quincy and seeing how they continue to blossom. Additionally, it does have smaller class sizes in some of those classrooms just because the school is small, has less than 170 students, actually less than 150 students.
Yeah, about 150. Yeah. So just to illustrate that, I'm not cherry picking particular schools. I wanted to show some other examples. Here's Williams Magnet, one of the schools that is on improvement. Look at their trajectory. 2023, they were down in that quadrant, low growth, low achievement. 2024, incredible growth. 2025, just phenomenal. Again, another high poverty school, high needs, lots of special ed kids in that building, and just to see that trajectory jump. Lowman Hill, this is probably the one I'm most proud of. You can see that movement. And again, the goal is to get in that upper right quadrant, high growth, high achievement. In a perfect world, we'd be way in the corner, and give me 4 more years, we'll be up there.
And
But,
Dr. Von Brake, I think you visited Lowman Hill and you could visually see in your experience some adjustments from 2 years ago, which also we're seeing academically.
Much more calm and friendly.
That's great. Highland Park High School. This is their MAP reading scores. So again, the trajectory up, they're actually outperforming the growth at a national level. And again, give us a couple more years, they're going to be right up there as well. Highland Park Central, there is some growth there. They hopped over the national average in growth and continue down that trend. Highland Park Central reading as well. We're seeing movement is there. And I am open for questions. I could spend 3 hours going through every school, but we're very excited that growth is occurring. So
Thank you, Dr. Kipp. And in our strategic plan, the area of growth and moving kids out of level 1. So we really focused on growth. So you can see that we feel like we've met and far exceeded where we even plan to be. And we're excited about what the future holds. I will turn this over to questions. Remember, we do have a training following this, but we'll open this up to questions for anyone on the team.
Questions for Dr. Kipp? Mr. Tatum?
This is great data on both the CAP and the MAP. And it looks like as far as the MAP is concerned, for all the ones that we've gone over here, and I would assume it'd be the same for the other schools as well, we see a lot of improvement along the growth axis. It looks like there's been movement along both axes, but significantly among the growth axis. And I'm curious what I may be asking. I want to make sure I'm addressing the right administrator. I'm really curious as to what you believe has made the difference in the increase, particularly with growth, but also with achievement on both indices.
Turn this over to Ms. Sharp to answer.
First of all, I think that we have some amazing leaders who have worked really hard to retain staff. The staff retention rates at some of those buildings are really high. And so that has allowed them to build some momentum with the district initiatives. I'll tell you that those building leaders are also really digging into the PLC process alongside their staff. Really looking at the quality of instruction, supporting their staff with getting resources that they may need to better meet the needs of their students. But I really think it has a lot to do with the leadership in the building, how they've been able to retain staff buying in to the instructional practices that we've really had over the last 7-8 school years. We've been very consistent with what we've been implementing, and so it's paying off.
Yeah, it's definitely paying off. Thank you.
And
I'm
sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Just to dovetail into her comment, a lot more principals and administrative teams are being a lot more data-driven, and really using PLCs with more fidelity and diving into who are the specific kids that we need intervention with, instead of just trying to, you have finite amount of resources and time. So why not target, maybe these kids need enrichment.
Okay.
These kids need, to fill in some gaps that they didn't get in the previous grade level, some of those standards. So we have built dashboards in Synergy for principals just to pull that out, work with their teams.
Right.
And so it's making it a little
Sounds like a
easier.
shift in the pedagogical approach.
Correct.
To how you specifically tailor the intervention to the needs of that specific child that's struggling in reading or math.
Yeah, it's really a differentiated approach for every kid.
Yeah.
And Mr. Tatum, we've had the data consults, but the piece of PLCs, the stat, everybody on the same page, looking at the data in the same kind of way. We were at a data consult, I think it was McClure, and she was sharing, Miss Desjardins, the assistant principal, that they have win time, what I need time. And all the middle schools have implemented that as well, where they're meeting with students, figuring out what they need for their individualized, tailored intervention approach. And whatever they need, the family has determined that student needs. They have this win time model where kids can get various services throughout the day. It's pretty fascinating. So again, as we have those data consults, we just encourage you to sit in on one, and I think you'll see just the way data is being used by teachers and by leaders.
All right. Thank you. Love it.
Dr. Beeson?
This is just a comment. As a parent, I have been involved in, one of my children has dyslexia and dysgraphia. And so she is on a general education intervention plan. And so I have been a part of these, we're doing it monthly, which I can't even believe that these teams are coming together so often just to talk about my child's needs. But I just want to say how detailed and targeted and focused these admin and teaching teams are when it comes to what our kids need. As a former teacher, I had never seen anything quite like it. And the growth that they've been able to show me and my daughter just this school year has been phenomenal. And I just commend everybody in that process for what's happening. And I know that that's happening for lots of families, and it's truly remarkable. So thank you to all of you and to the teachers.
Mr. Munoz?
Yeah, I think we have some sort of clear data that shows that things are moving in the right direction. And I think oftentimes we know the challenge that we face in the lives of our students and teachers. And I'm really eager to see how we might sort of think creatively about how to sort of celebrate some of this, success, shine a light on individuals who are doing amazing things. I also want to make note that on one of my recent visit to one of these schools that are included here, they mentioned that they really had a tough time, and they wrote up a report to administration, said, here's some things that I need. and here's the data that shows why it's going to help me. And on my visit, this person mentioned that they received what they asked for. And so it sounds like there is not only communication between teachers and teams to focus on our students, but also there's communication to make sure that the resources are allocated in a way that sort of help to sort of make sure there's less friction and are helping our buildings in the ways that we know will help them be successful. And this is just proof. So thank you all very much. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dr. Kipp.
Thank
I know
you.
we appreciate the visual.
That concludes that report. I do want to mention as we transition to the training session that the school board has organized for this evening and invite our guests to come to the podium. When you approve the consent agenda item, the one update I did have was Miss Rachel Schwartz, a parent at Jardine Elementary, a longtime resident, a Topeka High graduate, is our new interim chief compliance officer. And she is very data driven. So she's excited about coming to the data consults actually and helping teachers look at and helping us map out, doing staffing maps and being able to provide resources. So we're excited about Ms. Schwartz, who plans to come to the next board meeting just to meet everyone and to begin to learn about the district from a data lens. I'll turn this over to Dr. Meckel, who was here last board meeting. He started off with training with you all over what boards do, what is a school board. He was asked by Dr. Schumacher to come back to really look at board self-evaluation and board superintendent evaluation as well. So he'll spend some time today, as well as talk about how board members hold one another accountable. I'll turn it over to Dr. Meckel.
Well, good evening. It's great to see everyone again. You know, I'm not sure if it's a coincidence or not, but every time I come here, we have a board celebration. Okay, it's you guys. All right. Well, we spent some time together, as Dr. Anderson said 2 weeks ago, talking about the role of the board, why we do the work, what we do and how we do it. And of course, I would remind you again, I don't get to tell you anything that you have to do. I only get to remind you of the things that you should do to become a high-performing team. I will say this, I do have the first slide was the why slide from the big perspective. We talked about your personal why. We talked about our why. This is the why from the perspective of the people you serve. Okay, this is the impact that you have. You drive the success of a district. You are the ones that make that impact. So I want to remind you of that. But we said we would spend a little bit of time. I have about 30 minutes tonight. So this is going to be kind of an introduction, kind of a 101 course level. At some point, we want to get together and go to the 700 level and really spend some time talking in depth, but we won't do that tonight. I want to also give you a chance to ask some questions as we go, and then we'll wander down the path of evaluation and then things for boards to consider for self-evaluation. But I would start with this. We spent a lot of time last time talking about why we want to do what we want to do for kids. But the most important reminder we pointed to last time, someone pointed to this sign and said, this is the mission. And it's amazing. Almost everybody can agree on a vision. We want all kids to be successful. Almost everybody can agree on that. But where we struggle is when we start talking about how we're going to do it. Okay, how are we going to make that happen? And then difference of opinions enter into it and different ideas. And it was so impressive tonight to listen to your partnerships. Every time I come here, I get to hear good things. And then to watch you look at your data. And I don't know your data specifically, but I do know this. Everyone needs to continue to get better. But when you see improvement, it's a good day. When you see growth, that's a good day. So I would commend you for that. So keep your mission in mind, because the commitment to the vision happens when we agree on the mission. This is what we're willing to do together to accomplish that vision. Questions on that? Okay, I did not mean to sound like a cheerleader, but I want you to realize how important that work is. So what I want to do is hit a little bit of the insights that we spent time on last time. So you mentioned, how are we going to build and communicate together? And how do we ensure that those roles work and the capacity to deliver the best success for kids. So I will give you a chance to ask me a few questions, if you have any, before I go into tonight's workshop.
They're speechless.
I bring that out in people. I can't help it. All right. Well, I want to talk about what we're going to spend time on tonight then. So a couple of famous authors named Tim Waters and Robert Marzano wrote a book years ago, about 18 years ago, called District Leadership That Works. They were from McCrell. They worked for the Research Laboratory in Denver, and they put this great book together that talked about what districts do to be successful. It's a great read. It's not a new book, but it's District Leadership That Works, Marzano and Waters. And what they did was they came up with some specific ideas that make a difference in how boards work together and what they stay focused on. They're non-negotiables, agreed upon processes. And so this last 2 summers ago, McCrell came in through the Comp Center. I work for the Comp Center as well. And the Comp Center brought in people from Boston and Denver, and then gathered superintendents from around the state to put together a program to support leadership at the district level. And Dr. Anderson was one of the superintendents that helped serve. We had probably 17 or 18 superintendents, and she was one that helped contribute to this work. So this is what, if you watch the state board at all, this is what the leadership work they're doing at the state board level. And it's called KEDS. We're helping aspiring superintendents, we help beginning superintendents, emerging, and then executive level. So that's the process. But all that work was to develop the domains of executive leadership. And it was brought from Marzano and Waters' book and that work. It's a derivative of that. So I'm going to let you have a little chance to share with your insights. You don't want your mics on. I want you to visit with each other. I'm going to let you shoulder partner again. So these are the domains of executive leadership related to education. So what I want you to do on your piece of scratch paper there, I want you individually to rank 1 through 6, which is the most important and which is the least important through your personal lens. Okay, so just jot it down, 1 through 6, visionary, change, inclusive, instructional, managerial, and interpersonal. So hopefully you've identified what you think is the most important from top to bottom, 1 through 6. So I'll give you a chance to talk to your shoulder partner, do a little compare and contrast, and rate your ideas together. Did you have a good conversation? That's a hard test right there, right? Yeah. Well, no, we didn't have a good, we had a conversation, but it wasn't good. So what I want you to do is keep in the back of your mind what your process was. Don't tell me which ones you chose, but did you pick the same alignment at this group? Did you guys same things?
Not exactly,
Not exactly. That's good. That's a key insight.
but close.
Close, okay. How about here?
Well, we had the same number one.
Same number one,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And
We also had the same number one, and then some of our other ones were very similar as well.
so what I want to do, these are the domains I want to share real quickly, and I'm not going to read to you tonight, but I want to share real quickly what the skills are associated. This is what the superintendents brought together for us, and these are the insights that they shared. So under visionary, these were the ideas they said are really important to be a visionary leader. Advocating for the district, non-negotiables. Okay, this is who we are, this is what we're going to be. Under change leadership, they talked about these ideas, using the data, culture, innovative, okay, leveraging improvement. Under inclusive, they had some great ideas about creating shared environments, making sure everyone's engaged. Looking at through a lens of equity is how we lead and approach people. Making sure we have structures and policies in place to do that. Under instructional leadership, they talked about bringing in high quality staff and recruiting them. They spent time talking about systems that make that happen. I heard you talk a little bit about that tonight and what you guys are doing. And then high quality instruction in every classroom. Managerial, using the data. That was your report tonight. How do we use it? How do we align it? How do we use it to make decisions? And then, of course, the last one was interpersonal, working together, understanding people, building quality, strong relationships. So now that you know the definitions, look at your rank and share your thoughts with your table mates. Boy, we were perfect. We were exactly right. Does this make sense to you? Okay. You've had a chance to kind of reflect after you've had a little insights. Any changes to how you would rate or rank them as you review with the actual definitions of what we're looking for? We'll start here.
I don't know that we'd change them a lot, but we said the secret sauce is really a little bit of all of them. I mean, you can't.
Oh, you have to go last. We're going to start.
Sorry.
over.
We said you only need one, so.
Thank you.
Just
There you go.
kidding.
She's on top of her game. That's good. You've identified the key. They are all six important. They're very situational as the given needs that we are addressing. Okay, that's the key. Now, when we asked the superintendents the same question immediately before we had any definition, because they hadn't been defined yet, they simply said, first is visionary. You got to be able to see where you want to go. And second is instructional, because if we don't continue to improve instruction, we're not going to see the growth that we hope to see. But again, as we continue to define them, there was a realization they all knit together. They all work together. Without one, you're not going to be able to accomplish the tasks.
Because if you can't communicate it, if you don't have a relationship with them, what good is a vision?
That's exactly right. They all are critical. Because it doesn't, again, if I know the vision, but I can't share it with anyone. Okay, it doesn't matter. So how we put that together, those are great insights. So what I want to do, we're not talking about superintendent eval, but we're talking about superintendent eval. So when you design what you want to have happen in any system, for the superintendent, the board needs to reflect on these 6 domains. And are these areas, are we doing these things together? Are we accomplishing these things? Are there areas we want to work on? And I would tell you the best evaluation, there's lots of evaluation tools, but the best evaluation tool is a conversation with feedback. We're doing this really well. We need to focus on this area. We're struggling over here. What are we doing about this? And it's a two-way conversation. It's the same for a board, by the way, except for it's a 7-way conversation with a board. But in reality, that's the key. So whatever you decide to do moving forward with your superintendent evaluation, you can consider these domains as potential areas to consider. If we do these things well, we'll accomplish this mission. Okay, that's the key. Questions on that? Because I'm going to test you a little bit further. Now, we said these were superintendent goals, superintendent under those domains, but it's really about educational leadership. Can you imagine that they might have the same expectations for executive leadership amongst board members? They do. Here's what yours look like. So you already know the 6 areas. I'm going to let you process these thoughts. I'm going to give you about, I can't give you 10 minutes because I only had 30, but I'll give you about 5 minutes to look through these ideas and have a conversation with your table mate. And again, I'm not going to read it to you. It's the same domains, but it's specific to what boards should be doing. And if you can't communicate, as you said, we're going to struggle.
Will we get access to this presentation?
Certainly.
Is that okay?
If you would like.
I would like, yeah, okay.
It's on your computer, I believe.
Oh, yeah, okay. If I had thought about that, thank you.
Friday update.
Okay, thank you.
You don't need to turn your mics on, but have your conversation with your table mate. We will report out. I stayed behind the podium. Well, we can spend a lot of time teaching this and having deep discussions. We can. One more minute or so, we'll come back together. Okay, let's come back together as a board. After you reflected on those 6 domains, the board version, what questions would you have of me? I have a few insights I'll share when we're done, but I want to give you a chance to ask questions.
So one thing I struggle with as a board member, so obviously we have to operate within constraints of COMA and things that are in place for a reason. There's not a lot of opportunity, in my opinion, for us to get to know each other, to build trust among this group, to truly set our values and intentions as a board. And I wonder, how do boards do that while making sure everything is appropriate and follows the rules? But that the outcomes of those efforts would benefit all of us and the district.
That is a great question, and that's what I spend a lot of my time doing, those type
I thought
retreats.
so.
What you can do is literally declare for a meeting and have a work session that is open to the public, but it's not televised, it's not on the video, it's just a
Sure.
gathering around small tables and having conversations
Okay.
and asking questions, giving each other feedback, open ideas. So that is very appropriate, because if people, I've done them with no one else there but the clerk, myself, and the board, and I've done them with 75 people in the audience.
Sure.
But it doesn't matter, because we're going to have a conversation amongst us.
Yeah.
People can come to your meetings because that's the law,
Mhm.
but they're there to observe. The board, the work of the board is the work of the board. They have a chance to watch you do your work. The only time they have any other insight is if you have public forums. Other than that, they don't get to stand up and say, well, I wanted it. This is a board meeting. You can observe the board work in public. So that's a great way. We do that a lot.
Okay.
It takes time. You got to find time on a Saturday. I would tell you that the worst time to do something like that is before a board meeting, when you've got to get ready to make decisions.
Oh, sure.
Or after a board meeting when you've made a lot of decisions and you're tired. So designate a time or a date and say, this is a great thing to do. And when you're done, you'll have a better understanding of each other and what motivates each other to accomplish this. Because if the only time we get to be together is when we sit around this table, which it's not even conducive. And it's very difficult to build a team when this is how we approach our team. We're all sitting in the bleachers yelling at each other.
Yeah.
That's not a team, right? Okay, great question.
Thank you.
So the question I have, and you may have already talked to him about it a little bit, is for a board that has not done a lot of self-evaluation, how do we put our foot into that? And then how do we open a conversation? So I'm thinking about when I do evaluations with staff, right? One of the things I always perceive my role as providing my team with the tools they need or removing the barriers that are in front of them. So then how do we have a conversation with Dr. Anderson that says, hey, are there opportunities for us to provide tools that we're not providing to you currently? Or are there barriers that you have that you don't feel like we understand and we're not removing? How do we begin to step into that?
That is another great question. And there is a legal way to do that in an executive session. You do get together in executive session when you're dealing with personnel. That's your superintendent, and you literally have that conversation. We have some guides, we have some models that take you through the step by step. And literally it is a conversation. I tell boards this all the time, and it may offend you, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You're coaches. You are coaching your superintendent to become the best superintendent she can be. Okay, that's what, not one at a time, not 7 individuals, but the board. These are the things we want from you to impact the success of our kids in the district. And then the feedback is two-way. And these are things I need. These are the adjustments we'd have to make. And that's the process. It's interpersonal at the very bottom. Good communications, building trust, serving the community. That's where and you get to do that. By the way, superintendents love feedback because then they know what your expectations are. When they walk away from a meeting at the end of the evening, they should never walk, I wonder how that went. They should always know. This was a good meeting, or we did some good things. And next time we need to. Then the communication's flowing. Ideal. Yes, sir.
I struggle with that metaphor of coaching.
Yes.
Just because when you imagine a coach, you imagine that coach has all of that experience to be able to help that person grow, right? And we are community members, parents, and how do we coach someone individuals who and their team who are expert, that's what they do professionally, and we come in this as novices, right?
No, that's a very valid point. What you want to spend your time coaching aligns to this work, not to her specific work. Okay, remember this page? Remember these? These are specific to the superintendent's work. You don't want to delve into the specifics, but you want to delve into how is this reflected in our work on these areas? Because it's the same domains, and how do we do that? So the specific measures are the same in the sense that there's data to look at, there's conversations, there's goals that you establish based upon the board's version of domains, and then her job is to accomplish those goals and bring back the data that says, here's what you said you wanted to see, here's your vision, here's the mission, here's the data. Her job is to execute your mission. That's her job. And you have to be communicating constantly about, are we making progress? That's the challenge. Great question. Great question. You're right. You're probably not going to go in as a board member and coach them on instructional leadership, but you can coach them on what instructional leadership means from a board's perspective. Great. That's fantastic. I may have to take you next time I do a board training. Okay, I know I went over time. I apologize. You should see some of the hard questions I have for you guys. But we're not going to get to those tonight. But think ahead and let me know how we can serve or how someone from KSB can help you as you work through this process. The better you work together as a team, the more likely you are to accomplish this mission. And the more you struggle with each other, then this becomes a byproduct that doesn't happen because we're spending our time on things that don't matter to accomplish this. And no one can decide that but you. No one can make you do that but you. Well, thanks for letting me spend an evening with you. I hope to see you again someday, but it probably won't be a celebration next time.
Maybe not if it's on a Saturday. We'll have to plan it around somebody's birthday or something so we can have a celebration.
The poor person whose birthday it is.
Let's create the great Sanhedrin.
All right. With that, we are going to move to the next item on the agenda, which is item 21, action items. And it is the final approval of proposed policy and regulation changes. Ms. Whitman, do you want to highlight those for us? Does anybody have any questions? Is there discussion we want to have?
Madam Chair, these were the original policies that were submitted to the board on December 4th. There was input from the public, members of the community, and on December 8th, they were on the agenda again, and you received comments from 2 individuals. The changes have been made, and they are ready to go.
Dr. Schumacher?
It's, was the policy committee able to look at these again and discuss these changes or? Okay.
We're meeting on Monday, right?
Mhm.
So I had thought that we were going to talk about it on Monday, right? At our next, is that what your understanding?
Yeah, so we can hold off on taking any action then.
Maybe.
Again?
Yeah.
Will do.
Thank you.
All right, then next item is item 23, board member comments. We'll start with Dr. Bonebrake.
Well, health and wellness met, and Blue Cross Blue Shield and justified losing $2 million a year on us. I don't know how they can continue to do that. I have suspicion about numbers, but I get word salad whenever I ask about them. The Finance Committee met, and we are again not in the red. The legislature continues to try to kill us, but Head Start got funded and the meal program got funded. So we're all tickled nearly silly. So we're not in the red. Hang in there. I did meet with a couple of teachers and counselors at Topeka High, and it seems to be a lot of apathy among the staff. There's a lot of disruption and chaos during classes and at the restroom area. I think we need hall monitors and some sort of policy changes. I understand why the restrooms are open only during class, but that disrupts classes. And I think we just need some monitors to watch the restrooms so we don't have the vaping and the misuse and, you know, have people just milling in the halls in between, during classes. And I think we need to work harder on elimination and maybe go bell to bell for absence of cell phones, because they come out between classes and there's no response from the administration to enforce the cell phone rules. Usually the telephone isn't answered, is the answer I get from the teachers that want less chaos. So that's all I have. Just a few more $1 million for hall monitors.
I would like to say a big thank you for all of these board appreciation items. This is very warm and fuzzy, and especially the items that kids made are precious and really made my day. So thank you to everyone for that coordination and the kids and teachers who took time to do that. I know this was on consent, but a big thank you to Lewis Toyota for the $7,000 sponsorship of the Topeka Invitational Tournament, which I believe is beginning tonight. 58th year, very cool. And it's, I know it was a struggle sort of getting the funds that Highland Park needed to be able to host, and wish that were not the case, but I'm so grateful for Lewis Toyota for stepping up. And speaking of, good luck to all of our high school basketball teams in the tournament. Wanted to confirm Saturday's games are being pushed to Monday.
Yeah, I have that up.
Okay.
So tomorrow's are rescheduled to 3:30 and 5, and they're playing in 2 gyms.
Yeah.
And then Saturday is Monday at 3:30 and 5
Okay.
with 2 gyms.
Okay. Due to the weather. And then I think the last thing I want to say is sort of in my mind, this marks the start of a new term as a board together, at least for the next 2 years since elections are done. I really appreciated the training by, is it Miss Dr. Meckel? And would ask that we consider doing more of that as a board. And I would really appreciate that opportunity in a lot of ways for a variety of reasons. And I think that would best serve the district, setting our values and intentions together and working on behalf of our kids and teachers. And it is a pleasure and honor to serve with all of you.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ditto what Dr. Beeson just said about the opportunities for board development. I would love to look and see how we could do more of that together, spend that time bonding and just kind of working through some of the normal processes of board leadership that we don't always get a chance to do during formalized meetings. I would also like to add my thanks and appreciation for the gifts that we have. I like it when School Board Appreciation Month comes around because we always get cool stuff from the kids and the staff and teachers. And it is all very much appreciated, and we all love what we do, and I am absolutely delighted to get these things back because it shows that the work that I'm contributing to is meaningful. Couple of things to report out on real quickly. Dr. Bonebrake did talk about the Budget and Finance Committee meeting, he talked a bit about some of the things that were discussed. I would add, just for the board's benefit, there are things that are coming down the pike for us that we're going to probably be in a position to consider a little bit more going forward. The buildings that we own and the land and things like that. Just thinking a lot more about how do we continue to leverage those properties for the benefit of the work we do in public education. Are there other things that we might consider? And then looking at how we are utilizing our resources for programs that might not be providing the return on investment that we would hope to get from our involvement. And so more to come. There'll be more things that kind of bubble up surrounding our use of resources and how we allocate dollars over the near future. I also wanted to highlight a conversation that started back in, I think, sometime in November after the KASB conference. There, I talked to you guys about a particular session that I went to that had they were kind of highlighting, I think Mr. Munoz and I were both there. They were kind of highlighting a online system of communication that some school districts are utilizing that's kind of centered around a chat bot. Mrs. Wallace and I have had the opportunity a couple of times over the past 6 weeks or so to talk with one of the representatives of that company. We're both we were intrigued and impressed by what we heard. And I wanted to be able to kind of report back to you all about some of the things that we learned. This is so the person we met with is Kelly Winkler, and she is, and I'm blanking on, and Mrs. Wallace, feel free to jump in and help me. I'm blanking on the company that she represents, but they are working with school districts. They have worked with one of the school districts in KCK. It was KCK, yeah. It's a chatbot driven system in which the beauty behind it is it transcribes your questions into your own language. So and it has the ability to translate and engage with 16 different languages or something like that. It's really cool. But when you go on to the school district's website, you can ask questions of the chatbot. It will then pull answers from other areas of the district's own website, give you an immediate response based upon the information that it was able to gather from that district's website. If it's not able to answer the question, it flags it in the system so that a real life administrator can pick up on it and respond to it in a timely fashion, and be able to get back with that parent or community member or student to respond to their specific question. I know this is not going to be cheap. The price was based upon student enrollment annually. And so that's for us that we're just under 13,000 students. $4 to $5 per pupil is what they are charging. It is something to think about. One of the other capabilities of this system is it can do a weekly scan of board documents for new and additional policies. So when the board makes a decision in a particular meeting, the system can automatically locate those new policy decisions and add them to the system so that when questions are asked relating to that new policy decision, it automatically incorporates that policy into its responses. It's all generative AI. So there, it isn't going outside on the greater internet to try to create answers for questions. It is, again, working within that district's own website and the things that would be available on that website to provide an answer. So Mr. Wallace, do you have anything that you might want to add to this?
The company was K-12 Insights.
Thank you. Thank you. Have I missed anything? Okay. So, as you can imagine, they're really eager to continue to meet with us. We've kind of put a stiff arm up to allow us to be able to digest this and be able to kind of let our IT team, our tech and data folks be able to kind of digest this and consider what the pros and cons would be for our district specifically. But it is something that could be value added to our ability to interact with and engage with the public in a timely manner, and can offer some additional resources that we don't already have at our disposal. So there will probably be more conversations about this to come, and I will be sure to keep everybody updated on how that plays out. And that's all I have.
Let's take a look here. So we'll have policy coming up on Monday, and we'll discuss some of those items that we sort of just held off until our next meeting. Dr. Bonebrink did make a couple of points that there are issues in our legislature that are being discussed that directly impact the work that we do. And so just without really researching it, but just off the top of my head, things I've seen are bills related to vouchers, recess, how much recess students receive, as well as phone bars from schools. And so just things that I think we need to be aware of. Obviously, we have somebody who's keeping tabs on that, but we do need to be talking about the issues that affect us and be aware of it, and then when necessary, speak up to make sure that we're being the cheerleaders for public education. I've been to a couple of different events here in the last couple of weeks. First off, a number of us had the opportunity to be at the Living the Dream banquet. So that was awesome to be able to see so many USD 501 students who have applied for and battled for a scholarship, and to have that received on stage was great. I stuffed my face with pancakes at Ross recently on a Saturday morning, so that's always great to see. And you go there enough times, you see the same faces over and over, and so that's great to see Ross and the community they've built that's there to serve the students. And I think we saw evidence of that earlier today. I also was able to go to Topeka West High School for the ROTC. We have some hardworking students over there at ROTC who are doing things left and right, and we're taking care of those of us who were there for the chili feed. And so if you ever have a chance to go and hang out with ROTC students and support them, I'd encourage you all to do that. And lastly, I was at the Boys and Girls Club. I went there as a young kid, and I think in 5th and 6th grade for a couple of years, and it was just a place for me and my brother to hang out when my parents gave me that opportunity with other kids who and I think it was fascinating to see others who were there and who also went to Boys and Girls Club and who found themselves coming full circle in a different space and in a different role and supporting students who were there. There happened to be 3 USD 501 students who actually competed to be a Youth of the Year, and we had an 8th grader, I believe. She's part of a TCALC there, and she won, I think, and I think that information has been out there, but it was incredible to see our students and supporting our students in as many different ways as we can. So I've enjoyed these last couple of weeks. Lastly, I just want to say that what's resonated with me at this meeting is Dr. Kipp's presentation. We charged the administration to focus where we felt that students needed most. And we saw evidence today of students making progress. And I think that's something to celebrate. And I'm grateful for teachers and the building administration and our admin who are working to make sure that our charge to them, which is all students, but in particular, these students who we know who need that extra support, who are facing unimaginable challenges and obstacles, are receiving there. And we're seeing evidence through this report that there's progress being made. And it just begs me to sort of question, what else can we do? And so I'm grateful for that. Thank you all.
Yes. Lalo took a couple of mine. I do want to say congrats, Lisa. Congrats. Now I'm going to tell you things you have to do. So I was at my last ICC meeting this week with Dr. Gray. It was at Washburn University. The ICC meetings are exciting because I feel like they're a moving target, like when they are. But I have the next one on this agenda, so I'm going to just hand it to you. But this is the Intergovernmental Cooperation Council. So it's the city, the county, the library is represented, Washburn's represented, League of Women Voters is represented, but then there's also representation from the Shawnee County school districts. And so it's either us or Dr. Anderson or both of us or Dr. Gray. Dr. Anderson was celebrating Martin Luther King Day in somewhere else. Olathe, yes. So she couldn't be there this last Tuesday. It switches who owns the meeting every year. So it was our Metro Transit Authority, but now it's the city of Topeka. So Mayor Duncan is presiding over the meetings. Mr. Mays from the county has switched from Mr. Rapon. So it's him, Mr. Mays now, who represents the county. And it's a nice time to get together. There's always a topic. So it was Molly Howie, the CEO of Greater Topeka Partnership, and she talked about kind of workforce and how do we align education and workforce goals. So it's a good time to get together and fellowship. So that's one thing you get to do. There's also mid-year graduations coming up on Monday. And Dr. Gray reminded me that there's a video that you have to tape tomorrow morning. So you get to do that too. But mid-year graduations are coming. So just so everybody remembers, if you can make those, Topeka West, Topeka High in the morning, and then Highland Park in the evening. And then we got emails. These are a long ways out, but they are two exciting things, I think, to all of us. But the Ross Music Garden, Sound Garden. I want to say Sound Garden, but that was my favorite band in 2003. The Music Garden, so we got an email from Mrs. Reese. That dedication will be on April 11th, so please mark that in the calendar. I think they'd be very excited to see all of us. And then my favorite minor Topeka celebrity, Roland Reed, occurs on April 25th. And so parents as teachers and the United Way put that on. So two things to get on your calendar early. And that's all I have. What's that?
For Ms. Schmidt.
Oh, yeah.
Could do it.
No, she has to tape a video that goes on the TV for the graduations. Mr. Williams makes it painless though, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Madam President, Mrs. Bowley might still be on. I don't know.
She's off.
She's off. Okay.
I want to start by thanking you for your last year of service. I think you've done a phenomenal job. As you know, and I'm sure I'm going to find out, they're big shoes to fill. So so I'm sure I'll be leaning on you with lots of questions, but I appreciate how you've led the board over the last year, and it's been an honor to serve beside you as a vice president. So, yeah. Other than that, being last, everybody pretty much covers everything. Policies coming up. Again, thank you for the wonderful gifts. I know we don't do it for the gifts, but it's always fun, to receive them and get that little bit of acknowledgement for the work that we do. I want to thank you guys as school board members. It's time you took away from your families and from your jobs. And it comes with a really big salary of $0. So we know you do it out of love. And so that's appreciated. I know that I have talked with a couple of board members, and it actually leads right in with Dr. Schumacher talking to KSB and Dr. Meckler about board self-evaluation. So one of the things I want to do is work with Ms. Lister and trying to get some Saturdays that work for everybody and try and get some up and coming retreats on the calendar to give us some opportunities to have some of the conversations in an environment where we can do that. That Dr. Beeson mentioned and Dr. Meckler kind of referenced. So I think those are some exciting things we can do starting off with a new term and kind of a new calendar year, even though we're mid-year in. Other than that, I'm hoping that everybody stays warm. We're going to have some really scary wind chills coming up. So all you parents, make sure and bundle up your babies and everybody try and stay safe and warm, hunker down if you can over the weekend. Other than that, I do not believe we have a need for an executive session afterwards. So we are at item number 25, adjournment, and I'm looking for a motion.
I move the meeting adjourned.
Second. Everybody? All right. Those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much.